Hello, my cosmic friends. Welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Cosmos Tarot 2. My name is Cosmos. Nice to meet you if you are new. And if you're one of my subscribers, hello. Thank you once again for being here. I appreciate it. Today, I'm very excited. I will do a past life reading on Karina of Aespa. In this channel, I use tarot to learn about K-pop idols and very rarely other celebrities, okay? But it's mostly K-pop. So, like I said, Karina, she is the leader of the girl group Aespa. She's the main dancer, the lead rapper, sub-vocalist, visual and face of the group, and center. She's a very busy girl. Karina was born on April 11 on the year 2000, making her an Aries, and as of right now, it is April 12th. So happy late birthday, Miss Karina. I wish you all the best. I hope that whatever dreams and goals you have, they come true. May you always be happy, healthy, prosperous, and surrounded by the right people. Okay. Now, you are always free to not believe what I am saying. I have never claimed to know everything in the future or the past. So like I said, you are free to not believe what I am saying. Before I get started, I want to say this. When it comes to past lives, keep in mind that maybe in this lifetime, in the present, you may be a man, you may be a woman, but in the past, you may have been the opposite gender, okay? So with Miss Karina, I don't have a specific timeline or anything like that, so let's see. What will the universe tell us? Miss Karina. Also, I had done other past life readings in other videos. I did one for, I believe it was Jungwon of Enhypen. He had an interesting one. I know I have done several, I think, like 2 or 3 for the 8 in his individual video, in Q&A videos that I have had in the past. So yeah, if you would like to know about other K-pop idols and their past lives, let me know in the comments below. Okay. Karina Aespa. Your past life. Who were you? Okay. Okay, this one wants to come out too. We can do that. In a past life, Miss Karina. Well, actually, let me put it here so I can have a little bit more room. And if I need it later, I'll just grab it from there. Karina. Who were you? Okay, this one too. Who were you in a past life, Miss Karina? And this one is catching my attention, so let's see. Who were you, Miss Karina, in a past lifetime? Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is also we will take a look at her past life, and then we are going to see how that past life affects her in this current lifetime. Okay? Karina, who were you in your past life? Okay. And I just sort of take all of them. So, okay, we'll take all of them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to start flipping them over and I'll tell you what I see as we go. Okay. This one wants to come out first. So let's see. This one says, be impeccable with your word. Become a white magician. All the magic you possess is based on your word, and you cast spells all the time with your opinions. You can either put a spell on someone with your word, or you can release someone from a spell. You know, the times that I had done some sort of reading, not just for Karina, but Aespa in general, I always get the feeling that the Aespa members, Karina, Giselle, Ning Ning, and Winter, they're very spiritual. I don't know how open they are about it, but I'm already catching spiritual vibes with that one there. Let's see. This one, don't make assumptions. Relinquish the need to change others. Okay. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, this means that we don't really like them. It is easier to find someone who is already the way you want him or her to be instead of trying to change that person. Okay. And let me take a look at here. Be impeccable with your word. Again, the word. Realize the power of your word. The power of your word. Your word is the power that you have to create. It is a gift that comes directly from God. Okay, this is a very old lifetime from what I am picking up here. Let me take a look at these 4, and then I'll explain to you what I see, and then I'll take a look at these 5 tarot cards I have in here, okay? Because I'm starting to see the picture, but let me take a look at these right here, and then I'll tell you. Storyteller, okay. Storyteller. Light attribute, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. Shadow attribute, making up tales to harm others. Oh, okay, that, I got chills, okay. And we have thief. Oh dear, Karina, okay. Thief. Light attribute, sheds light on potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Shadow attribute, stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. Oh, okay, Karina was not the best girl in this past lifetime, and I still have these 2. Let's see. Vampire. Light attribute, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. Shadow attribute, depleting others for your psychic survival. Chronic complaining and codependency. And the last archetype card is Messiah. Light attribute, serving humanity with humility. Shadow attribute, exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. Okay, from what I can see in here, Miss Karina. The year 1600s. I don't know what year specifically, but I see 1600s. So 1600. So in that timeline, in the 1600s, medieval Europe is the setting here. Miss Karina lived in this village. She was the wife of a pastor. A pastor is basically a religious leader in the Christian church. Now there are many different branches of Christianity. I don't see which one, but in this one in particular, she was the wife of the pastor, the leader of the church. Now, Karina in this lifetime, she looks European. She looks Caucasian. White skin. She was considered white, but because of the sun, she looked a little tan. Think of like the Puritans, the way they would dress. That's how she would dress, like the Puritans. And those little hats that women used to wear to, cover their hair, that type of dress. Now, even though she was the wife of a pastor, deep down, Karina was bored. She was bored at church. What she liked about being the wife of the pastor is the power that came with it, because, the pastor was not just going to marry anybody, right? So she felt a great sense of pride that, he picked me. But I see her during church ceremonies. Karina looks bored out of her mind. Of course, her face, she kept that guarded. She is the wife of the pastor after all. But deep down, she was bored out of her mind. Now, she loved to gossip. That's where the storyteller comes in. She loved to gossip. Now, she was never a thief, but she did like to, eavesdrop to listen in on conversations, even if it wasn't with her or talk about her. However, she was very sneaky about it, though. She was very sneaky about it. And then she would go on and, like sprinkle it here and there to the other women in the village here. And to her, that was very amusing. It was very amusing. But she was so good with her word. We have 2 cards here that talk about being impeccable with your word. She was so good with her word that people never consider her a gossiper, a troublemaker, or anything like that. She was very good in the way she will express herself, the way she will carry herself, that the pastor's wife, oh no, she's a great woman of God in this time. She is a great woman of God. She will never do anything like that. If anything, she has helped me out. She has heard me out when I need it and stuff like that. During this time here in the 1600s, sorry guys, English is my second language, and there are times my brain and my mouth don't connect the right way. But but at this time, the belief in witches, it was still very prevalent. Yeah, now people say, witchcraft, that's BS, and blah, blah, blah. Back in those days, it was a reality. Okay, it was a reality. There were a few that did not believe in it, but majority did. Okay. Whenever there was a witch trial, Miss Karina, when the pastor, her husband, would say, okay, this woman, and there were men that were accused, and even children sometimes that were accused of witchcraft. It was mostly women back in those days. So whenever there was a woman that was being accused of witchcraft, Karina would say, oh honey, don't worry, I will go, I will interrogate them. I have people that I trust, that I know are women of God as well. We're gonna go and interrogate this woman. And I see Karina, walking out and like rolling up her sleeves and saying, here we go. And she's actually smiling. So yeah, Karina in this past lifetime was not the best one. So much for being a wife of a pastor, right? But she was not a good person. I don't see her having children yet, okay? And this is the beginning of the story. I still have these cards, and I have a lot more decks right here that we can take a look at. But yeah, Karina would take care of interrogations when it came to women. And mind you, she was quite brutal. She will not let them, if a woman was accused, she will not let them sleep. And if she see them falling asleep, she will come and slap them. Like, wake up, you old hag. That's what I hear her saying. Wake up, you old hag. And then she will be interrogating. Are you a witch? Did you put a spell on this? Did you put a spell on that woman? Did you put a spell on this man? Were you dancing at night naked in the woods and blah, blah, blah? The typical questions that they would ask people that were accused of witchcraft back in those days. So basically, yeah, she would use unhumanly acceptable methods to make people confess. And also, well, if there were people that would be talking against her, Karina, she would put on a show. She will cry her heart out with her friends, and then once again, she was so good at expressing and persuading people into doing what she wanted that those friends will take revenge for Karina, and Karina never had to do anything physically. And Karina, yeah, she took great joy in being like that. Who would have thought? Okay, let me take a look at the tarot. We have the 6 of Cups, Temperance, interesting, Page of Wands, 8 of Cups, Page of Pentacles. Okay, so eventually Karina had children. Okay, Karina had children in those times, and it looks like she had 3. 2 boys and 1 girl. Her little girl, basically Karina was teaching her to be the same as her. Okay. Women back in medieval times, well, basically they had 0 rights, right? They were a commodity property that You went from your father's control to your husband's and his family. So Karina was teaching her daughter to be the same way as her, to, be manipulative, but at the same time, make yourself look like the angel, like the poor victim that everybody is against stuff. Okay. She was teaching her daughter this because, well, her boys, they were going to be future pastors. They were good, right? They were boys. Society preferred boys at the time. So they were good. And also her husband never did anything. Was her husband aware of her little wicked ways? Yes. Karina's husband was aware. But he ignored it because, well, at the end of the day, like I said, Karina was so good at manipulating and presenting herself in a godly, good manner that, well, it never affected her husband. So the husband didn't care. I mean, and the husband, even though he was a pastor, he was a shady one. So both of them were shady together, and in the end, they got the benefits. So the husband never did anything to stop her. Now, were there some people that were aware that sometimes they will be using their status as, the pastor and the wife of the pastor for their own gain? Yes, they were, but nobody dared to go against them. Nobody did. Okay, this deck is catching my attention, so let's see, what do you want to tell us about Karina in this lifetime? Let's see, what else? Okay, we have the Moon, Queen of Cups, Eight of Swords, the Six of Wands. It looks like a lot of the, the wealth that the church and therefore Karina and her husband had came from other people. And how did they acquire this? Well, by accusing them of witchcraft. Back then, pretty much, once you were accused, it was guaranteed that you were gonna be erased one way or the other. It was guaranteed. Until one day, it looks like they accused the wrong person. It looks like it was a woman, a rich woman. Jeez, okay. Karina's husband, the pastor, it looks like he tried to seduce this woman, this rich lady, because she was a widow. So it looks like he tried to seduce her. She rejected him. Now, did Karina knew about this? She did. But she didn't care because, you know what? This lady was rich. So, the husband could go ahead and do what he wanted as long as she got to reap the rewards. But this lady rejected him. And he was an elderly lady too. So she rejected him. He did not like that. After all, this was a rich lady, so he wanted everything she had. So what was the way to take everything away from her? Oh, accuse her of witchcraft. And what did Karina's husband say? Well, he said, this woman, she has come in my dreams at night, trying to tempt me, trying to make me sign the devil's book and blah, blah, blah. I see shadows. I see strange birds when I'm walking on the streets, when I'm in the woods gathering what's it called? Firewood. Distracting me while I'm trying to pray to our God and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, if the accusation came from the pastor, nobody was going to question it. After all, he was a man of God, right? And then later on, Karina said, oh yes, she also came to me in my dreams, tempting me to not worship God, to worship the devil, to steal my husband, to steal my children so she can sacrifice them. And she wants my daughter because she cannot have children. So she wants my daughter to teach her wicked ways and make her forget about me and stuff like that. So what happened? Well, this lady got arrested. She She was tortured, basically. She was sleep deprived. And if you want to know what kind of torture, just search medieval torture and you will see. I cannot describe it because I don't think YouTube would like it, but yeah, just search for that. Medieval torture of witches. And you will see. Oh, it gets brutal. But yeah, in the end, well, this lady, she was accused by her husband and Karina. She was hung under the pretense of witchcraft. She was hung. It looks like before dying, though, this woman, when she was at the gallows, you know, the little stage that they would make, because back then executions were a public spectacle, right? So they made a little stage, they made the gallows, and, you know, they had the rope in which they were going to hang this woman from. It looks like this woman, she looked straight at Karina and said, "You are not going to get away with this." And of course, she looked at Karina's husband. She didn't say anything, but same intentions. "You are not going to get away with this." And that's when this lady was executed. And like I said, you are always free to not believe what I'm saying, okay? You always feel free to click away. Remember, this is a past lifetime. We like to think that we have been good people all of our lifetimes, but no, we have not. And trust me, I have found out some scary lifetimes about myself. So, at first, okay, Karina and her husband thought, okay, we won. Woo! Let's get her riches. And they did. They went to her house, they ransacked through everything, and you know what they didn't want it, all that they gave to everybody else. But they got the goodies. They got the good things. Now, it looks like over time, a year or two later after this woman was executed, came another minister, pastor. I am getting those words. I don't know what the difference is. Because like I said, there are different branches of Christianity and everybody has their different way of calling the leader. A minister, a pastor, so either way, this one was another religious leader. He came to the village. He came with his wife, with his children. And it looks like this new religious leader got jealous of Karina and her husband. So what happened next? Karina was accused of being a witch. Remember what I said about Karina and her husband saying, "Oh, this woman came in my dreams and was tempting me and I saw her doing rituals and blah, 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 blah." The same thing was said about Karina. Not her husband, though. What an interesting twist. Not her husband. So, remember, when you were accused, it didn't matter who you were. You were basically done for. So I see Karina being arrested, being taken from her home. Her head was shaved. And I am not making this up, okay? This used to happen back in those days. There are actually books in detail that says what would happen to those being accused and a lot of YouTube stuff. But, you know, why did they shave her head? To look for the mark of the devil. Because, you know, the natural moles and stuff like that you had, people consider those marks. Apparently, they found the mark of the devil on Karina. And she was sentenced to... she was sentenced to burn at the stake. So that's what happened. Karina was burned. Now with her husband, eventually he also got kicked out of the town. I don't see him being accused of witchcraft. But it looks like, well, eventually this new minister, pastor that came to the village found out that Karina's husband, he was shady. He was doing shady business. So he just got kicked out of the village. He was arrested for a while, but then he just got kicked out. He was cast out of the village. Karina's children were taken away from Karina and from him, and they were raised by this new couple. So the new minister was now in charge of the village. Karina was burned at the stake. And, oh Lord. And as Karina was burning, well, she remembered the lady that was hung. Okay. And it looks like Karina repented in those moments. It looks like she repented. Whew. If you need a break, I don't blame you, because my goodness, it. Well, you can imagine. Oh, jeez. Sometimes I burn myself while I turn my candles on, and it, sheesh, that hurts. I can only imagine if your whole body was burning, right? Okay. This is catching my attention. This is the after tarot. So let's see. What do you want to tell us about Miss Karina? This one sticking out. And this one. Okay. Can you see those? Yeah, you can. Okay. We had the Ace of Swords. Okay. The Lovers. Okay. The Four of Wands. The Nine of Pentacles. Okay. The World card. The Ten of Cups. And the Seven of Wands. Okay. In this current lifetime, well, from what I can see here, Karina is the complete opposite from her past life, right? Once again, she has luxury, because back in those days, the way Karina was living, it was considered a luxurious life. She wasn't rich, but she was middle class back in those days. And as the wife of, the pastor, she was considered very lucky, very rich. Karina has had other lifetimes, okay? She has. She has had other lifetimes to, well, get rid of this bad karma of this lifetime. So she has been cleansing herself, her soul, until now, to this lifetime. I don't know if you guys remember, but Karina was dating this actor. I cannot remember his name right now, but she was dating an actor. And, well, that relationship did not last very long. But part of the reason why it did not last very long is, well, part of her punishment, I guess we could say, is that, well, she created conflict with her words in the past. And because of those little gossips that she would create, well, it looks like some couples, they separated. And remember, divorce, in some places it was not allowed, and in some places it was, but it was the woman that will always be losing. She will be the one being cast out, and just terrible all around for her. Part of the reason why that relationship did not work for her is because of that, because of the marriages that were destroyed. And I can see Karina being very happy with this gentleman while the relationship lasted, but that is also part of the reason, because of all the conflict she created. However, Karina has earned this lifetime. Say what you say about the idol life. It's not an easy one. It's a very difficult one. But Karina, she is very privileged. She is famous. Her group is famous. She gets along with her group members. it took Aespa a while, no, to climb to the position they are now. It took them a while, but it has been good in the end. It has been good for Karina. And she is the leader of the group, so she doesn't have a lot of power when it comes to every decision, but at least she is respected just a little bit more in the eyes of SM Entertainment. That is her company that she works for. She is respected a little bit more compared to the other three ladies because she is the leader of the group. So like I said, from that lifetime to this one, Karina has had other lifetimes in between. She has cleansed. She has atoned for the sins she committed in the past. She has. And that's why Karina can have a little bit more of a peaceful life, a luxurious life. Now, does Karina still have challenges in her personal life? Of course she does. She always will. That is part of being human. But, like I said, she has atoned for her past sins. And that's why she has had a better status in this lifetime. Also, Karina, well, she is a little more spiritual now than how she was in the past. I don't know her religious beliefs, but at least in private, she is very spiritual. She and the higher powers, whoever that is to Karina, are more connected than how they were in this past lifetime. I did say Aespa, the four of them are very spiritual in their own way. They have their faith. Their faith is very strong. So yeah, from being the complete opposite, no? In the past, she was very bored at church, and now, well, she's spiritual. I don't see Karina going to church. I don't know if she does. But hey, in her own way, she and the higher powers are more connected. Okay? So yeah, she got to experience a luxurious life in the wrong way, acquiring it the wrong way. But she has atoned, and now she is who she is now. And I do see Karina being more prosperous, but also happier. All around being happier than how she was in this past life. Wow, what a journey. And like I said, you're always free to not believe me. But yeah, this has been Karina's past lifetime. It's crazy. I was not expecting this, honestly. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting this, okay? But yeah, like I said, that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I wish you guys the best. I wish Karina the best. I'm so happy that, well, she is different and that she seems happier in this lifetime compared to that one as well. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Thank you, and I don't know what else to say. If you have another request for somebody else in their past lifetime, let me know. Just give me time. I have a full-time job after all, and I do have a lot of requests, like 200 and something at this point. So yeah. All right, I think I talked long enough. So thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye bye.